So we're ready to get started. We got a great strategy Sunday. We got a great episode, we could call it, tonight. We're also live on Instagram. We're live on YouTube. So, like I said, we're going to go ahead and get started, right? Because we got a lot of content to cover tonight. We got a lot of things we want to talk about. So we want to make sure that we cover everything, right? Before we start, we're going to discuss a few things tonight. Before we start, if you're on YouTube, I need you guys to like the content. If you're on Instagram, I need you guys to share live with 10 of your friends. Put the word shared in the comments. Can you guys hear? Can you guys hear? Somebody says they can't hear it, right? Can you guys hear on Instagram? Some people say they can't hear. That's always somebody that says they can't hear every single time, man. It kind of gets on my nerves, like, right? So let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and block you, Robin. Block Faber. How do you block this dude? So let's get started, right? So we're gonna talk a little bit about bad neighborhoods. We're gonna talk about Biden's mortgage. We're gonna talk about Nvida, the 350. We're gonna talk about the finance and tech merge. Then we're gonna talk about the Bitcoin halving that's coming up. We're gonna talk about Tesla possibly going to $2,000. Then we're gonna talk about two penny stocks I don't talk about penny stocks much, but I'm a person that looks for opportunity. And when I see opportunity, I have to go after it. I don't care what it's in, what it's about. I have to go after it regardless. So we're going to talk about two penny stocks. Before we start, I want you guys to talk. I want to talk about one thing because we have to understand how to approach penny stocks. There's a certain way you have to approach it. Penny stocks are like a bad neighborhood. We're going to talk about that more. But before we talk about it, I want to start about some experiences in my life, right? Because I use those experiences, especially in my book, The Strategic Millionaire. I'm sorry, I guess. It's out on Amazon. I talk a lot about these stories in my life that led me to where I'm at today. So when I was young, and some of you guys that play basketball, as you was younger, you're about my age, you understand that you understand what I'm about to say. Some of the funnest times in my life, I played basketball in Puerto Rico overseas. I played on all different levels. But when I think about basketball in my life, I'm getting old. I can play still, but not like I used to. I can't play an entire weekend tournament like I used to do back in Tennessee. Some of my best memories of basketball, it wasn't playing overseas, even though it was great times. It wasn't all this other stuff. It was playing in summer tournaments when I was in my late teens, early 20s in Tennessee. And the reason why I liked them is because we would go sometime to Nashville, we go to Memphis, we go to these, what some people would consider horrible neighborhoods. Drug dealers hanging outside the gym, people barbecuing outside, crazy stuff happening. But when you walk past all of this to go to the gym, back then they had cars with 24-inch rims. I don't know if they still had it no more. But people would put TVs, stuff in their car, people showing off their cars, and you would walk past these people, they mean mugging you as you walk past, and you go into the gym and you play these people that don't really know you. You from out of town. You from Clarksville, they from Memphis, or you from Clarksville, they from Nashville, right? The best memories in my life was playing in those types of gyms because once you got inside, the atmosphere was lit. Once you got inside, there was a lot of excitement. Once you got inside, the food was amazing. Once you got inside, the competition was immense. The trash talk was par none. It was some of the best memories in my entire life. No air conditioning in some of them. Sometimes you go out to a place, ain't no air conditioning in the gym. You playing in the hot. In the middle of the summer, Tennessee, no air conditioning, 500 people in a gym that only supposed to hold 200. People lined up on set. Those were the best memories I've ever had in my life playing basketball. And some people would say, like, how could you have fun in a gym with no air conditioner? With half the dudes outside got guns and they mean mugging you. With some of the people screaming crazy stuff at you, some people are for you. It will go either way. It's because of the atmosphere. It was because that atmosphere led to great competition. The atmosphere led to great fun. The atmosphere led to great risk and also reward, right? Because of the risk to walk in there, the reward was high. If you beat them in their own gym, the dopamine rush that you would receive off of that was extremely high. And it was some of the best times in my life. Now, I say this because sometimes investing is like this, right? Is that sometimes some investments could be a bad neighborhood. Penny stocks are bad neighborhoods. Some of the most horrible stuff in stocks goes down in penny stocks. 99% of the time, I'll stay away from penny stocks because I know it's a bad neighborhood. Like most of the time, I won't drive through a bad neighborhood no more. I got jewelry on cars. I can't, sometimes I still, but every once in a while, I'll drive to a bad neighborhood because I had to buy some shirts last week. Yesterday, so I drove to a bad neighborhood. Now I got to play basketball. If I still played, I got to go to a bad neighborhood because that's where the best basketball, that's where the best clothes, that's where the best food is sometimes found at, right? But most of the time you'll avoid it. But sometimes you got to go in there because the opportunity is great. And that's what we're going to do with penny stocks, right? There are 2 penny stocks I want to talk about at the end of this show that I think could go up 20, 30, even 40 times. It's 4,000% within the next year. But we're going to hold those off to the end. So I want to talk a little bit about a few things. I want to talk about, like I said, we want to talk about Biden's mortgage, which a lot of people ask me about. Then we're going to talk about Nvida possibly going to 350. Then we're going to talk about a finance and technical merge that's happening right in front of our eyes. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, what the price is going to be at the next halving. Tesla could possibly go to 2,000. And of course, the 2 hot penny stocks. Before we start, join the CNC now because it's $67 a month right now. It's going to be $97 by the end of this month, which is only 7 days. So if you join now, you get locked into $67 a month. And what the CNC offers, by the end of the month, we'll have coding classes in there. So people will be able to learn career paths, coding, technical skills also. We got a ChatGPT class we just dropped in there. We drop signals every day, crypto and stock signals, what you should buy, what you should sell. We don't tell you what to do. We give you advice on what we're doing. We say when we get in, we say when we get out. People have made a ridiculous amount of money in the CNC over the last few months. Now, if you've been making money in the CNC, I need you guys to drop those money bags in Instagram. And if you're on, you can also drop the money bags on YouTube. I want to see how many people. We've changed a lot of lives in the CNC. Text the word CNC to 888-709-2614. You could click the link in my bio, or you can go to jointhecnc.com. So let's move on. So we're going to talk about Biden's mortgage. A lot of people, I put up a post, it kind of went semi-viral. We talked about how Biden administration, I don't care what anybody tells you, this is a true plan. I don't care what anybody tells you. Some of the news outlets aren't reporting it, but if you do your research, this is true. So Biden administration's in a little bit of a pickle, I should say. They have to stimulate the economy, right? And if you think back to 2008, our economy is built on housing. It's built on like 3 things: housing, probably oil, and probably a little bit of tech. That's our 3, probably one of our 3 biggest pillars that we have holding up our economy, right? So if housing starts going down at all, it's going to kill our economy, right? So in order for us to get, we have to always find ways to stimulate the housing market. And we did that. Obama did it. He gave out stuff for the housing market. And we are in the automobile market. That's another big one. So Biden administration is looking at the housing market. And they're like, well, man, we need to stimulate this. How can we do it? We've run out of stuff to do. What we can do is that one of the biggest problems of the mortgage industry is that a certain section of people are completely outside of buying homes, maybe 30% because they have bad credit scores. So if we can include those persons in the system, then we could sell more houses and stimulate the economy. So how can we do that? Because banks are not going to approve people with a 500 credit score for a house. There's no way a bank's going to approve them because obviously their credit score is a reflection on their ability or willingness to pay the money. And they don't want to pay it, or they can't pay it. Either way, the bank don't care. You can't or won't, or it don't matter. To them, it's the same thing. So they have to come up with, the Biden administration had to come up with a way to get people the banks to accept these bad people. That, I'm not saying they're bad, but more or less bad to the banks. So what they can do is that if you got a good credit score and you can get a house, or we're going to tax you, and we're going to take that $50, $100 a month, and we're going to put it in some kind of insurance system to hold up the people who don't have the credit score. So if they do default, we got some money in a bank somewhere, we can kind of help the banks out. So the banks now can open their loans out to a wider group of people and stimulate the economy. Now, it sounds good in theory, right? It sounds like a great idea, right? It sounds like an amazing idea, but it's not. In principle, it's a good idea. Mathematically, it works out short term. Yeah, if you look at it mathematically and you turn the switch on today, it will stimulate more houses instantly. But humans, especially people in the economy, are very smart. It's a whole credit repair business based on people being smart enough to either work with or game the system. So mathematically, it does make sense. Mathematically, it does. Mathematically, it will cause, because you have to think about it from the bank's perspective. They got these bad people with these, let's say this is the bad people with bad loans. And on the right side, you got people that have good loans. Well, how are you going to get these people involved in the system? You got to spread the risk over the two people. And the way you do that is take some money from the people who got good credit scores, put them in the bad credit scores. And what you've done is you spread the risk over the entire group, and more people can buy houses at the cost of the people who have good credit scores. Now, for the administration, for the banks, it's a good idea. Only short term, though. It won't work long term. For the individual who worked hard to get a good credit score, it's not a good idea. And what's going to happen is people that are borderline are going to just say, well, I just miss a payment and get below the whatever the number is, 680, and I don't have to pay that. And people are very quick and very smart when it comes to stuff like that. People will, your realtor or your mortgage broker will tell you, miss a payment so you don't have to pay this. And the whole system will shift. And then finally, the system, the new thing won't work anymore. And then you'll be back to square one, got to find another way to stimulate the mortgage, the housing market. So like I said, short-term mathematically, it probably will work out for two people, the banks and the current administration. Long-term, it won't work for anybody. All it's going to do is cause problems. They're going to kick the can down the line and have to come up with another solution in 2 to 3 years. Now, luckily, I don't think I'll be affected by it, but a lot of people could be affected by it. And all these loans are through Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae anyway. So some people don't go through them anyway. So it's not everybody. It's just some people. Let's move on. Nvida to $350, right? So one of the biggest things that we've done in the CNC, and also just people that have listened to my podcast, or not podcast, but my Strategy Sunday over the last couple of months, we made a ridiculous money by predicting. I predicted Nvidia's rise in late December, early January, when most analysts said it was garbage. Since then, Nvidia's up 150-something%. The options are up 20, 30 times. A lot of people have changed their lives, bought houses, bought cars, paid for college, quit their jobs even, based on that one play in the CNC. And like I said, people said, well, maybe Armando, Tall Guy Tycoon, whatever you call me, got lucky. Well, I've done it 10 times before. This is not the first one. Every 3 or 4 months, we get a huge play. Every 3 or 4 months, we do a macro play on an event that's happening. We use several strategies, including the pick and struggle strategy, and we make a lot of money on something. It happens every 3 months since I've been doing this since 2019. So I've proven myself completely. And I still think Nvidia has some room to go. I don't think it's all the way. I think, like I said, is right now Nvidia is trading at 271. I think it's going to 350 soon. I think it's got, and the reason I think this is because I believe that two things I believe, right? I think that AI is going to grow immensely over the next year. I mean, AI will change so much over the next year that we won't even recognize it in a year. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a good example, right? Because people want to listen. I always say this. I like to use analogies. I'm going to ask the audience too. Let's say each one of you was in the middle of a stadium, right? And then when you stand in the middle of the stadium, it's an empty stadium, nobody's in there. I'm going to take an eyedropper. I'm going to drop 1 drop of water. Then the next minute, I'm going to drop 2 drops. The next minute, I'm going to drop 4 drops. Next minute, I'm going to drop 8 drops. And I'm going to keep doubling that amount every minute until the stadium gets full, right? And I tell you, hey, man, make sure you get out this stadium before it fills up the stadium. So you got to run up the stairs and get out. You probably got 2 or 3 minutes to do that. So how long do you think you have before the entire stadium fills up? Let's say Yankee Stadium. Let's make sure we know we're all on the same page. You're in the middle of Yankee Stadium. How long do you think you have before the whole stadium fills with water and you drown? Well, you got 44 minutes. Remember when you're taking an eyedropper and just dropping 1, 2, 4, 8. And that's the power of exponential growth. And the crazy thing is not how fast it happens. It's at minute 40, only your feet will be covered in water. At minute 41, your knees are covered. At 42, it's up to your shoulders. At 43, it's 6 feet above your head. At 44, the whole stadium's full. The biggest growth, 90% of the growth happened in the last 4 minutes. Humans have a hard time seeing exponential growth, and that's what's happening with AI. It's exponential growth. AI is building itself right now. It's growing itself. They're using AI to build better AIs, which is causing exponential growth. In a year, 2 years, AI will be completely different than what we recognize it is today. And it will be integrated into society in ways that we never thought or imagined. So if that happens, Nvidia is in a position that no other company is at in the entire world to benefit uniquely from that situation. They already have. AI took off really, generative AI took off January of this year. And Nvidia is almost doubled in price since then, almost over doubled, almost 3 times in price. So somebody said, what percentage of Nvidia's business is AI? And I want to explain this to you. Nvidia produces chips, regular chips and GPUs, which are graphic processing chips. So Nvidia doesn't work directly in AI, but because they provide more or less the brain of AI, every AI system out there needs Nvidia's chips to process. Now, Nvidia don't work in AI. They just provide the chips. So anytime a computer uses vision, they need GPUs, graphic processing units. Anytime a computer thinks about have to process a lot of data, use a CPU, a central processing unit, which both of these things is what Nvidia produces. So Nvidia, like I said, is at a position to grow greatly off of this AI movement. Now, like we said, a lot of analysts didn't agree with me early on, but now a lot of analysts, every major analyst on Wall Street agrees that Nvidia every major analyst is very bullish on Nvidia. And I'm telling you, from working with the banks in the past, seeing a lot of things, whenever all analysts believe something, it's because the banks are in line. If the banks are in line with something going up, it's going up, guaranteed. It's going, once you got all the banks saying that something's going up, they're going to make it go up. They're not going to lose money. All the banks ain't going to lose money on nothing. So because of this, I'm increasing my investment in Nvidia. So we'll talk a little bit more. We got 700 people on YouTube. We got 1,800 on Instagram. But I need you guys to do something on YouTube. If you like the content, if you haven't liked it yet, I got 600 people watching, 619 watching, but only 147 likes. It should be at least 500-600 likes in that. So I need you guys to like the content. If you're in Instagram, share it live with 10 of your friends. Put the word share in the comments. Y'all ain't sharing, man. So now I want to talk about something that's huge that's happening. It's also really a subset of AI. I appreciate you, Gunscope you. So what's going to happen over our lifetime? There's 2 big movements that's going to happen. AI is going to take over most of the things that we do. AI is going to take over most aspects of our lives. AI is going to take over most aspects of both our recreational, professional, and even our home lives. But there's another trend that's happening under the scenes too, and that's the merge of finance and technology. Now, I am a financial technology. People say, what does fintech futurist mean? That's what my title is. Or, that's what I tell people I am. That's somebody who tries to predict the future of finance and technology, fintech. Now, over the last 10 years, an industry of roles called fintech, financial technology. So what's going to happen in the future? Right now, it just refers to crypto. It refers to any app that maybe like judges, your budget or creates a budget or any kind of banking app. All that's considered financial technology. But what's going to happen over the next 20 years is that finance and technology will be one and the same. There will be no difference. You'll have to use finance to access technology. You have to use technology to access finance. There will be no difference. If you need to use an AI system, you have to pay with a token. In order to go under bridge, in order to use your car, even to use your car, you have to pay with a token. That's why I like IOTA so much, and all these tokens that work with what we call the Internet of Things. For your blender would even earn tokens by sending data back to the cloud. Every device in your house will either earn or pay in tokens to be able to function correctly. Every device around you will either pay in tokens or earn tokens for either sending data to the cloud or receiving it back. A little bit like how solar power works, right? If I ain't at home and I don't have the lights on, solar power is actually return power back to the grid. So when it does that, a person can actually have a negative electricity bill. They can go back and the electricity company owes them $30. That happens all the time with solar power. It's the same thing will happen with technology, is that every device will either get paid for sending data back or either pay for getting data to it. And whatever the balance is at the end, you may get it or whatever. That's the future. So Apple made a huge step forward in this future by announcing Apple's going to announce, for those you don't know, a 4.15 savings plan on their devices, right? For Apple users, anybody else. So that's one of the highest saving accounts in the country right now. 4.15% return. That's higher than a lot of, certificates of deposit, CDs. And you can take the money in and out whenever you want to. Now, how is Apple getting the money to pay this much money return? That's a lot of return. That's a lot. And I doubt that Apple actually is investing that money to get 4% back. 4% is hard to get in the economy right now, guaranteed. So what Apple's doing is that they're probably taking a loss to get millions of users attached to them financially. Because Apple, just as well as I can see, this fintech future coming. And you have to get people on board now, because one day finance and technology will be one and the same. And whoever the first movers are going to have the biggest advantage. So, I lost my notes here. There we go. So, and that's a good case for cryptocurrency, right? Is that I'm a big believer in cryptocurrency. I mean, I'm what you call Bitcoin maximalist, which means that I believe that it's going to take over everything with enough time. And just the fact that a tech company like Apple, and also remember last week, and this is why I've made a lot of money. We talk about this in my book, The Strategic Millionaire. I encourage you guys to get it. But we talk about these things is that the ability to predict what's coming next can make you a lot of money with doing very little work. Elon Musk said last week that he wants Twitter to be the biggest financial company in the world. Now, that don't even make sense, really. Twitter, financial company, what does that mean? Nobody ever thought of Twitter as a financial firm. Nobody ever thought that Apple would be offering savings accounts. This should open your eyes that there's a bigger trend forming right now. There's a big trend forming right now. And the people who realize it position themselves, they're the ones that are going to make all the money. The name of my book is The Strategic Millionaire. So let's move on. Yeah, Twitter will be a super marketplace. That's a good, I never heard that term, but that's a good way to put it. So, talk a little bit about Bitcoin, and we're going to talk about Tesla, the 2000, and we're going to talk about the 2 penny stocks that I promised you guys at the beginning. The book's not on Audible yet, but it'll be there pretty soon. So, Bitcoin halving price. I'm getting low numbers. I guess I got pretty high numbers on Instagram, but low numbers on YouTube. Must be brother husbands must be on. Whenever some new show comes out, man, my numbers drop. That's crazy. But I can't really doubt it. I guess some people like these weird shows. But let's move on. So I want to talk a little bit about the Bitcoin halving price. Like Bitcoin right now is 27,000. We did some technical analysis. Roger sent me over the technical analysis about an hour ago. He's in the CNC. He's our main analyst. And it looks like Bitcoin's in a holding pattern for the short term. It's at 27.5 right now, roughly. And it's probably going to hold there for the rest of the week. And then we're going to just see what's going next. But one of the things that I want to talk about is that the Bitcoin halving is coming up. Right now we're in April. We're about a year, 12 months away from the Bitcoin halving. For those of you who don't know what the Bitcoin halving is Bitcoin has it hard-coded into a system that every 4 years it cuts the supply in half. Now, if oil cut the supply in half, we know that the price is going to rise. It causes a supply and demand shift, and normally the price of Bitcoin responds after that. The next one is in April of 2024. So when that happens, Bitcoin, 6 months after, Bitcoin is probably going to go over 100,000. But what we're talking about now is what the price is going to do up leading to that, because that really is going to tell us where it's going to go next. Plan B is an analyst out there that I've been following for a while, it's years, and he's always, except for the pandemic, he predicted the Bitcoin price for like the last 4 years. And he says, and I do agree with him, he says that the price of Bitcoin is going to be at 60,000 by April of 24, based on his analysis, and he has a model called the stock to flow model, which kind of predicts where it's going. Now, if Bitcoin is able to get to 60,000 by April of 24 before the halving, like I've said this before, and I'll go on record to say it again, Bitcoin will be at 250, 300,000 by the end of that cycle, which is going to happen sometime in the middle or late 2025. And a lot of people are going to be sitting on the sideline shocked when that happens, crying about, I should have bought it when I saw it at 20. Oh my God. You remember when it was at 16? Oh, I should have got it. That irritates me, especially people that are watching. You were right there and you looked at it and you did nothing. Now, you can't say that the system's holding you down. You can't say that the rich people got all the advantages. You cannot say that you didn't have a chance when it was right in front of you. You had the money. So if you don't have the money, it's different. But if you had the money, you looked at it, you got scared, and you didn't buy, it's your fault. And I'm sorry if that ruffles some people's feathers, but it's your fault that you didn't get rich or you didn't make a lot of money. It's nobody's fault but your own, because you didn't let technical analysis, or you didn't let any type of analysis bring you to that judgment or that decision. You let fear take you to it. Now, I can't give you a pass on that. I don't give anybody a pass. If you let fear stop you from making the right moves, you don't get a pass on that. Maybe the first time. Second time, I can't give you a pass. First time, everybody, I did it too. Everybody gets scared. After you see it go through a cycle, next time I can't give you a pass on it. Money will always come back. And somebody, Rocky Lopez makes a good point and said, don't be afraid to risk money. You need money to live. You need money to eat. You need money to have a roof over your head. But besides that, you really don't need, money you can get it back, right? And what scares me is a lot of people will drop $4,000, $5,000 on a Louis Vuitton purse. And I'm telling you, There's more real Louis Vuitton stuff than you think. Because I can look at a real one now. I could tell because I've bought so many. I could tell a fake one from a real one. I could look at this. First of all, you know about the stitching. Because the stitching, if it's hand stitch, it's more than likely real. Because a fake one wouldn't spend the time to hand stitch it. And you could tell from the over stitches, because a machine stitch, they're not going to stop right in the same hole. They're going to over stitch. So it's going to be overlapping stitches somewhere on that bag. That's how you can tell a fake bag from a real one. That's one way. It's a bunch of other ways, but that's one way. So I can look at a bag or a wallet and I can tell you it's fake just off the stitching on the outside. So, but there's a lot of real Louis Vuitton bags, a lot of them. You would think that most of them are fake. Nah, most of them are, I say most of them are real. More than half of the bags out there are real. These people are spending $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 on Louis Vuitton bags, stuff like that. You ask them to put $1,000 into an investment or let's do this together. They don't want to do it. They start shaking all of a sudden. They're asking all these questions. But they'll go on Louis Vuittons, drop the $4,000 with no questions. They'll go into Dior and drop $6,000, $7,000, no questions. They'll go to Saint Laurent, drop $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, no questions. But when you come and say, hey man, let's start a business. Let's invest in this real estate. Let's invest in this stock. They got 100 questions, 21 questions like the 50 Cent song. They got 21 questions asking you what happens if it don't fail? How do we get out? They got all these questions for less money than it cost them to buy that Louis Vuitton bag. But that's the mindset that people have, is that Louis Vuitton bag to them is a surer investment than investing in a stock or real estate or a business. Which actually it should be reversed, because after you invest in the right investment, you could buy 10 bags. But people don't think like that. They want it now. They don't want to take any risk. So let's move on to Tesla going to 2000, and we're going to talk about these two penny stocks. Before we start, I need you guys, if you get into CNC now, this is where we have a community where we keep you in this mindset. We keep you on the right path. We keep you on the right mindset. We drop plays that you can immediately make money. We do a lot of great things in that. Right now it's $67. Text the word CNC to 888-709-2614. In 7 days, the price will go to $99 and I'm not taking it back. If you get in at 67, you locked in the price forever. There's people that are still locked in at $15. That was the first price I charged 2 and 3 years ago. So once you get that price, I'll leave it alone. You'll have it forever. And like I said, I always give people a challenge. I said, look, man, I refunded. I actually did my third refund ever last week because the guy said he just couldn't figure it out. So if you get in there and you say, look, man, it's not working out for me, Armando, I'll give you all your money back, regardless of how long you've been in there. 2 months, I give you the 2 months back. And then I give you an additional 3 months for free. So Armando, man, I didn't, I got in there. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have time for it. I tried, but I was so busy with the kids. All the money comes back. So I'm not going to take your money unless you benefit greatly from it. And I'm not talking about a little bit. I'm talking about 4 or 5 times your money, 3, 4, 5 times your money. Then I'm like, well, they benefited from it. That's what the benefit I'm talking about. You put in 67, you got 3 times your money. So I'm going to talk about 2 more things. Tesla, the 2000. We're going to talk about these 2 penny stocks that could change a lot of lives. So Tesla, give me a second. I think I lost my outline here. So Kathy Woods, who's the leader of ARK Investments, she was on CNBC 3 days ago, and she said that she thought Tesla could easily go to $2,000 before 2027. And I would say, if you look up Tesla, look up their definition on Wikipedia or wherever you want to look. Tesla says that Tesla's definition says they're an AI company, artificial intelligence company. Now, I kind of agree with that. They're not 100% because it's a software hardware company, and the hardware companies don't make as much money as software companies. Software companies have an incredible profit. Hardware companies don't have as much profit. So I think it's a mix, a hybrid company. I don't think it's a full AI company. But regardless of the fact, is that I agree with her. I think Tesla could be at $2,000 within the next 4 years. Right now it's running about $200, right? Less than 200, like 180. We're talking about a 10, 11 times increase in the next 4 years. You put in 1,000, you get 10,000 in 4 years. And this is what I'm talking about, is that there's opportunities all around us. And I'm going to explain why. There's 3 reasons why I think that Tesla is going to eventually reach that amount. First of all, is that we're not in a 100% bull market yet, right? We're not in a 100% bull market. So when that market comes back, Tesla's going to naturally just benefit from that. 2 is that Tesla is actively increasing their production facilities. They're building one in Mexico, I believe. They're building a lot more all over the world to decrease their dependence on China. Improved battery technology. The one thing I like Tesla that is working on is the swappable battery technology. I think that that's going to make Tesla's that's going to make the addressable market, or the people that Tesla could sell to, a lot bigger. Because one reason I won't buy a Tesla is because I don't want to charge the battery. I forget stuff a lot, and I will forget to charge the battery. I forget to charge my phone half the time, so I just go to sleep with the phone on. So there's no way I'm gonna remember to keep that car charged up. So it's easier for me to just fill up with gas when I need it and go. But the swappable battery technology is gonna be like gas stations, where you pull up, they take your battery out, they put another battery in, and you take off. You don't have to charge it. You don't have to worry about it. You pay for a service every month, and you get unlimited battery swaps. Now, when they unleash that, the market is going to double or triple to the people that are willing to open their mind to Teslas. It's going to open dramatically. 2 is that there's 2 companies that I believe are going to benefit greatly from AI as it applies to driving in cars. And like I always said, Uber. The main problem with Uber is that these drivers want too much. And I'm not putting the drivers down. I'm not saying that they shouldn't get the crazy amount of money they want. I'm not saying that. But all power to them for fighting for their rights and fighting for more money. But from the company side, it's a big burden. That's why Uber can hardly make no profit, because of the drivers. So AI, one of the biggest companies on earth that's going to benefit from AI instantly is Uber. They just replace the people, put AI in there, and their profits go through the roof for the next 5 years. And they're actively working on that right now. Tesla's also, and I say number 2 would be Tesla. Tesla already has one of the best auto driving technology on the planet, maybe the top 2. And they already have that the studios and the development facilities for this type of driving. So I think that the first 2 companies that are going to get there are going to be Tesla and Uber. And they could maybe do a partnership. But I think those companies are going to benefit greater than any companies on earth when they figure out how to implement drivers, automated drivers in cars. And I think, like I said, is that in the future, it's going to be a lot different. It's going to happen a lot faster than most people realize. Is that it's going to be instead of you owning a car, you're going to pay for a subscription to maybe like 3 levels. You have a normal car, mid-grade cars, and premium cars. And maybe the premiums be $300 a month, the mids be $200, and this be $99 a month or something like that. And instead of you owning a car, which will actually be illegal one day. One day it'll be illegal to own you will not be able to own a car. You will only be able to be in one of these car networks. So I could maybe go to a Lexus network or maybe Tesla's network, and I said, look, man, I'm gonna pay $300 a month. I want premium cars picking me up. So you press the button. Every time you need a car comes to pick you up, take you wherever you want to go, and then you just go to work. You don't have to park your car. The cities don't need parking because the cars are always on the road picking people up. So it erases the need for parking, which doubles the amount of, like New York City, for example, the downtown New York, half of the space is for parking. You get rid of the parking lots, now you got double the space for real estate. So the governments will eventually realize this and force everybody to do this. And the cars will either park or be housed outside of the cities. The cities will be all real estate. So it actually, you just doubled the amount of real estate that can exist in a city. So I believe that's going to happen. And that's going to, and like I said, two companies will benefit more than any other company. Tesla and Uber, right? Second thing is market value, brand value, right? So they have the highest two. Somebody just said, I want to say something about this because I saw it on there. Somebody said, he mentioned the Antichrist. He said, why should we invest at all if the beast and the Antichrist is taking over in this prophecy? I'm going to tell you, it's a simple reason why. I was raised in the church because they've been talking about the Antichrist and the beast for 200 years, or longer than that, ever since Jesus left. They've been saying that the Antichrist is next. He's coming next. He's coming next. Nobody knows for sure. It may happen in my lifetime, may happen in 1,000 years from when I'm alive. They've been preaching the Antichrist is coming back since Jesus died. The next week they were saying it. The next week they were saying the Antichrist. Most of Jesus' disciples believed that the Antichrist was coming in their lifetime. And you can research this. So what if they just gave up and didn't do nothing, didn't harvest their crop stuff because they figured that the Antichrist was coming? You don't know when it's coming, if it is. So we don't know if the world's going to end. We don't know any of that stuff. So you have to continue moving forward just because you don't know. So nobody knows for sure any of this stuff. We don't know if China's going to invade, but you got to keep moving ahead. We don't know if somebody's going to drop a nuke on us. I'm going to get in my car and die tomorrow. But you keep moving ahead as if none of this stuff's going to happen. Because if it does happen, well, it didn't hurt you. And if it doesn't happen, then you just out because you don't have nothing prepared. So you have to keep moving forward. We can't be talking about this what if, what not, what. You just got to keep moving forward as if everything will continue the way it is today. So they want you to stop. That's actually what they want you to do. So I want to talk about these two penny stocks before we do. Share the live with 10 of your friends on Instagram. Put the word share in the comments. And if you're on YouTube, I need you guys, if you ever subscribe to the channel, this is your chance to subscribe right now. And also like the content. Let me see how many likes I got. 320 likes, but there's 778 people in here in YouTube. So I need some more likes. And if you ever subscribe to the channel, go ahead and subscribe right now. That's what I'm saying. Somebody said, don't let fear control your life. That's what you're doing. If I just give up because I think the Antichrist is coming, you letting fear and uncertainty control your life. I want to control it. So I'm going to keep going forward as if everything's going to keep going like it is now and try to predict what's coming, but don't let it freeze you in your tracks. So let's move on. So I want to talk about two penny stocks that I think are going to do extremely well. So like I think one's going to go 20 times higher and one's going to go 40 times higher. But like I said all the time, is you have to be careful with penny stocks because there's a bad neighborhood. And if you don't have experience, I would stay out of them. Because it's bad neighborhood. It's a bad neighborhood. Like when I play basketball, like if you were listening at the beginning, you have to know how to navigate in this neighborhood. You got to know who to look at, who not to look at, what colors to wear. All that stuff had to happen, right? You got to know who you, if somebody's on the court, you don't foul this particular dude because he's a drug dealer. Or you can foul him, but you can't foul him. And you can't say, you got to know how to operate in these types of environments, right? Just like a bad neighborhood. So penny stocks are the same way. There's, if you operate in the right way, nothing's going to happen. You'll be safe. But if you get greedy, you don't operate the right way, you don't do your due diligence, you're going to get robbed. Same way you would in a bad neighborhood. Be alert. Right, there's two I want to talk about. One is a free-to-play mobile and social game portfolio. It's a company that actually makes two types of games, social games and free-to-play mobile games. They make their money on advertising and also microtransactions inside the game. So What happened is that this company released their earnings a week or two ago, and it far exceeded expectations. And the company went up 30%, and it's on its way. Even if you look at the earnings that they're making, their growth that they presented over the last year, the company is extremely undervalued from the prices at now. Right now, it's trading at about $4.18, but it should be trading at $30, $40. The market has a way of correcting those types of mistakes, more or less. Is that the market has severely undervalued this company, but the true value is like 10 times higher than it should be, sometimes more. So I'm going to tell you what this stock is, right? A lot of analysts have raised their buy rate on this stock to $6. Right now it's at $4. So that means at minimum you're going to get 40% return. So this stock, like I said, it's a NASDAQ stock. Let me see. Now this stock is like I said, it's an amazing stock. The symbol is MYPS, Play Studios, MYPS. Make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure you don't take my word for it. Make sure you look at this stock. All I'm telling you. We got a question. Somebody says, what are your thoughts on the P&E ratios for tech sector right now? I think because of the markets, I think that P&E doesn't really work as well with tech companies. It depends on the type of tech company, as well as they do with a traditional company. Traditional company, 15 is good. A tech company have a 30 P&E and still be pretty good. So it just depends on the company, what they're doing or whatever. But I think I think a lot of tech companies are at a very attractive valuation right now. And I think they're all going to go up in the next boom, especially with the AI movement underlying that. So the next one I want to talk about, I got 2 minutes, so I want to go ahead and get it over. Employees find it hard to get us in tech back when the office had these hybrid roles. Oh, okay. So there's one more. And this is a biotech company that's focused on cardiac disease. And this company has something under FDA review, right? And it's gene therapy. Well, you know, gene therapy is when they change it. Somebody has a predisposition or they have a gene problem and it's causing a cardiac or a heart problem in their body. So this company has actually figured out a way to change a person's genes so that their heart operates better. And right now it's on the FDA. If it gets approved, the company's going to go to this, even if it doesn't get approved. The company's doing so many good things. Their earnings are so high that they're still going to go up 10, 20 times. So like I said, do your due diligence. Make sure you review it. Make sure you come to the same conclusion I'm telling you. We got 1 minute, so I got to skip to the name. And that's called Tenia Therapeutics. The symbol is TNYA. 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 And right now that stock's trading at, let me see. $5.55, and it could go to $40, $50. But people in New York, I'm thinking about, if you're in New York, please listen. I'm thinking about doing some classes, maybe 3 classes, and then doing a strategy Sunday in New York on the NASDAQ trading floor. But I would have to get you guys in New York to show up, right? And I have to charge you something because it's expensive to do it on the NASDAQ trading floor. So I really want to do a strategy Sunday in the next month or so. Let me see, April, sometime in May, on the NASDAQ trading floor. Maybe June, sometime in June, on the NASDAQ trading floor. So Rogers will be there also. So if you guys are interested, just DM me. I just want to get interest right now. I'm going to watch Brother Husbands. So, like I said, I hope you guys have a great night. I appreciate you joining this live. And like I said, if you have any questions, make sure you text the word CNC to 888-709-2614 to get into the CNC at the price that we talked about. And I always say, if you don't make any money or you don't like it, message me or message one of the analysts. Say, look, man, I want my money back. We'll give you a refund, no questions asked, and we'll give you 3 months for free. Hope you guys have a great night. Have a great rest of your weekend. It's only a little bit left.